Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Ashton, with my awesome co-host, Zach. Zach, do you want to tell everyone the fantastic news?
Yeah, so it's been a good week. It wasn't great for the Rams, but it was good for the Mayer family. The Rams have gained another fan. So me and my wife had our actually our had our fourth kid this week. So yeah, things have been going pretty well. Not a whole lot of sleep, but I'm glad to be able to talk Rams with everybody. How are
Yeah,
you?
man. Congrats to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Nice holiday. Got to eat a lot. Got to do a lot of different things.
Oh yeah, man,
Uh,
this week has gone by so fast that we actually this is the post Thanksgiving Day episode. So
mhm.
yeah, good. Got your
Yes.
got your ham filled in.
Oh, you know I did. That mac and cheese though, ooh, destroyed the mac and cheese. You know what also got destroyed, Zach? The Rams. I wouldn't say destroyed, more just like put into submission. Uh, yeah, guys, this podcast is gonna be shorter than normal. We're just doing kind of mini podcasts. Haven't really had a lot of time to prepare and stuff with Zach being becoming or having another child. So having deal with all that and work stuff has been pretty busy for me this week. So we're going to try to do something shorter, and then we'll do a normal podcast next week, which I'm sure we'll be talking about a win. Hopefully, please, I need it. Zach, what's your general reaction to this game? It was a
You
rough one.
it was a rough one, and I think for most of the game, I mean, really, going into the first half, I wasn't really too kind of too shocked by what was happening. But I thought the Rams were doing a pretty good job of, um, keeping up with Kansas City, at least, like I said, for the first half of the game, at least, if not for the first three-fourths of the game. Really trying to contain the high power offense of Kansas City. Um,
Which they did.
which they did. Really, they what was it? Three of the four times they went into the red zone, they held them. Um, so that's fantastic news. So for this defense, which is kind of what we've been saying every week. It hasn't always been the defense. It's the defense hasn't helped sometimes, but they've never really been the hindrance of why this team has lost. Um, so that's at least the positive. And the other positive I think going out of this game was I really liked what I saw from Bryce Perkins. I mean, he had the unfortunate two picks in the later half of the game, but really he was doing a really good job of managing the game, being able to roll out, which I felt like we've been lacking a little bit with Stafford. He's more of a sit in the pocket kind of a quarterback, and seeing Bryce go out and um, going out and making the run if need be, running on his feet, things like that. I thought that was pretty impressive on my point. How about you?
I thought he did all right. I will say that first interception, it was just a bad pass. You got to not make those types of passes in the NFL, and it was a pretty bad interception. Um, but the second one is complete luck. Like Kansas City had two tip balls that didn't land in defender's hand, and his did. It just it just is what it is with the second interception. But for the most part, I thought he was fine. I was hoping for a little bit more from him, especially on the passing. I think some of that comes down to McVay not trusting him with mid to long range stuff, and you have to do that so they don't crowd the box. And they were crowding the box the entire game, and we couldn't do anything because of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've going to a team that hasn't focused on the run and hasn't been able to explode on the run. Um, they really went heavy on the run this game. Um, really, Bryce Perkins only had 23 attempts on passing. When they had 28 carries. So it's just one of those things where I think they need to find their rhythm. This was Bryce Perkins's first NFL start. He got his touchdown, which is pretty awesome. His pass to Van Jefferson. So at least we got to see that, and that's something that Bryce Perkins can look to in the future. His stats weren't that great, but again, this is a team that's pretty much beat up at all cylinders. I mean, Cooper Cup's out. Um, Allen Robinson was out this week, and he's out for the rest of the season. Obviously Stafford. That's why Perkins is in there. Your the offensive line is in shambles continuously week after week. Um, so it really was what can Bryce Perkins do, and I think we saw a little bit of bright spots on the running, about him being able to be a more mobile quarterback and seeing how that could play into the Rams' future.
Yeah, he could be special if he can get down that mid to long range throwing. He really could. But that's going to be remain to be seen. I mean, this was a game where we only had a few chances to really catch up to Kansas City and put them in a precarious spot, and we just never was able to get over that hump. And then eventually, Kansas City blew up, which they're going to against you. You just got to be able to score with them. And this offense, Zach, it's honestly the worst offense in the McVay era by a mile.
And for sure, and I mean, I don't know what other team in the NFL has ever gone through this type of injury where not only are you on your 11th offensive lineman lineup, you have had four different left tackles. You've been shifting your centers left and right. Your two-star wide receivers are now out. Your quarterback's been in and out, and this just doesn't seem like something that has ever happened to a team. And it just so happens it was the team that just won the Super Bowl.
Mm. Yeah, definitely rough season. Let's go ahead and try to preview this game. So Aaron Donald will be out for this game against the Seahawks. Oh man, I mean, we've won what one out, or sorry, they have won one out of the last seven. So it's been like or two, I think, out of the last seven games against the Seahawks, including playoffs. And really, like one of those two was a last second field goal that we missed. We should have won that game. But for the most part, we have dominated the Seahawks, much like the Cardinals. Um, I don't think that's going to continue, Zach. The Seahawks team its offense looks robust. Geno Smith is just it. It may be a 1 year thing, but he's in the zone for this year, and he has looked incredibly impressive. We were totally wrong about the Seahawks coming into this season. Both me and you thought they were going to be bottom three. It turns out they're going to be probably top five, top seven in the NFC. So it's an impressive job what Pete Carroll did, and it was a great move to move on from Russell Wilson very clearly.
For sure. I mean, but this team is different, and I think it's even different than it was at the beginning of the season. I mean, right now they're not even if we stopped um if we stopped right now, they wouldn't be in the Super Bowl or they wouldn't be in the playoffs. They're right now being edged out by I think the Commanders. So, you know, their trajectory has kind of gone downward. I mean, especially with the beat last week against um, the Las Vegas, which again is one of those bottom tier teams who should not be beating a team that's looking to be in the playoffs. So I think that there is some hope. Now, I will say that yes, Geno Smith has done great work this season. He still has Metcalf. He has Tyler Lockett. They have a pretty good, decent offense. Their rookie running back seems to be doing really well. But then you look at their defense, and it's just not the same defense that I feel like more or less that we saw back when the Legion of Boom was around, and it just hasn't been the same. And I think that's been their downfall. Where our defense hasn't been our downfall, our offense have been, and theirs I think is the reverse. I think their offense is winning them games, and the defense is losing them games, which could be a
Yeah,
problem. I mean, I know we're gonna we Wolford is starting this week, which me personally, I'm not super excited about, but especially if we do this whole, what we did a few weeks ago, where they just keep coming in and out of, they're not getting a rhythm with a quarterback because they keep just bringing in Wolford for a few series and then bringing in and then going back to Perkins. So I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to Wolford playing, but what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. I think the offense under Wolford is just uninspired at all. I would prefer Perkins, but if he starts, he should really get the start through the game, unless if he gets injured. And dear Lord, if he gets injured, oh man, uh, we'll see. Liking what we have been seeing out of Kyron Williams, I think he's been the bright spot of the season outside of defense being good.
I
Uh,
mean, yeah, I mean, you should see what he says in the locker room. He kind of seems like he really wants to take his stuff to the next level, and I feel like that's we've been missing that. I mean, I feel like Cam Akers was that person who was like, yeah, I'm the guy. I can't wait to get back. All the off season while he was injured, he was like, yeah, I'm ready to get back. I'm grinding. I'm doing this and I'm that, and we haven't seen it. But it's really good to hear from Kyron Williams and be like, yes, I'm messing up, but I feel like I can be better than what I'm at, and I think that is the picture that we've been missing in these last couple of years.
Yeah, man. I we statistically still have a chance to make the playoffs, but we have to win out, like literally. And even then, it's probably going to be like out of pure luck if things just happen to go the way. And let's be honest. Even if we make the playoffs this year, we're not going to go anywhere far. Uh, maybe I guess if Stafford and some few pieces can heal up, potentially,
Yeah,
but.
you look at our season. We have Seahawks twice, which again, those are division games. They can always come down to a grind. You have the Raiders, who again, like I said, bottom tier team in the NFL. The Packers, which haven't been doing great. The Broncos, which they are literally the worst offense in the NFL right now, if it's, not the Rams. And, then you have the Chargers, which, could probably be another loss. So, you know, all things go well, they could go on a good winning streak, but that's a lot to put together, in the last several weeks. But, the Rams do pretty well in December. So maybe we'll see something special out of them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but honestly, this defense has to start scoring. I mean, if we're going to start winning games, our defense has to score. That's not fair to ask of the defense. It isn't. But that's how our team's going to win if we have a top 5, top 3 defense. And
Yeah.
that hasn't been the case so far. So
Well,
we'll
and
see.
we've lost it, and now we lost out on Ashaw Robinson and Aaron Donald this week. So, um, not looking too great on that defensive line, but we still have I still have belief in Leonard Floyd and Greg Gaines, and I think that team still has that defense still has the potential to show something, but it's gonna take extraordinary players to really fix what's happening here.
hmm Next man up. Some of those practice squad guys that are getting reps, you may never get reps again. You gotta make the most of your chances, and if people won't, like you're gonna get your job taken. That's how the NFL works, sadly, and we'll see. I mean, for some people, somehow we kept around Brown for like years.
For sure. So yeah, I'm like I said, I think that things can work out in the Rams' favor. I'm just, it's not very optimistic, and I'm not very optimistic that things are going to happen. But you know, we'll see.
Yep. Yeah, everyone, sorry for the short pod and everything. We'll have a full pod episode next week, but wanted to make sure Zach wasn't too troubled. He just had a child, and that's a big milestone in your life. And I hope you just enjoy being a father. Maybe not as much not getting sleep, but hopefully that starts to get better sooner than later.
Oh yeah, like I said, we're kind of old pros at this as far as this is number 4, so uh we'll get used to it. It'll take a couple weeks of adjustments to get there, but I'm already lack of sleep, might as well do a podcast while we're at it. So appreciate everyone who's congratulated us on this. Yeah, it's super fun, and getting to one of the coolest things, coming as this as a Rams podcast is getting to kind of share all of this with them. They love the Rams almost as much, if not sometimes I feel like more than I do at times. It's funny, like today, my daughter had a hat day at school, and she had to wear her Rams hat that was actually signed by Bryce Perkins. So she now actually can say that she has a starting quarterback signed autographed hat, which is kind of cool to say. And it's just fun to kind of watch them grow and kind of share the same interests as me, and especially when it comes to the Rams and things like that. It's super fun, and I really get to enjoy all the things that it comes with
Yeah, man. Happy you're getting them early. Definitely gonna need more people to fill out the stands when we start going back to back Super Bowls in 5 years.
I know. I can't keep the fan base growing by myself. So we're gonna have to definitely start outreaching and bringing people in. We've seen a great community across the entire United States and even the world, as far as people being Rams fans, and that's what we need. We need more Rams fans. Need to pack those seats so that we get those 49ers out of the out of SoFi and not eligible to get in, or at least they have to pay a pretty hefty fee to get in. So we need definitely work in LA to boost at least the attendance
Hmm.
of dedicated Rams.
Yeah, man. Uh, hopefully, uh, hopefully the baby starts letting you get a little bit more sleep, and I hope everyone just has a great weekend. Also, just quick mention, Zach, the U.S. is playing tomorrow morning against the Netherlands in the World Cup. Uh, you guys will probably be hearing this after that game. I hope we win, or my sports streams will be further crushed for the rest of
Now,
this year.
real quick, I know we're a Rams podcast, but this whole U.S. soccer thing is kind of the whole World Cup thing is kind of over my head as far as how things go. Now, in this game, if we tie, do we win?
No, so there's two parts of the World Cup. There's the group stage, and then there's the tournament. So in the group stage, you start out with 32 teams, and you have 8 groups of 4, and out of those 8 groups only 2 teams can move on, and it works off of points. So if you win your game, you get 3 points. If you tie, you get one, and if you lose, you get none. And basically, the 2 teams in your group out of 4 with the most points will move on. There's some tiebreakers in there, but for most part, you get points, you win games, you'll move on. And the top 16 teams out of those 32 will move on from that group stage to the real tournament. This game is the first game of the tournament. So the
Gotcha.
US moved out of their group and was able to advance to the tournament, and now it's win or go home. So basically, you'll have the full 90 minutes, and if it's tied, then it will go to another 30 minutes of overtime. And if it's still tied at the end of that overtime, it will go to penalty kicks, which is very dramatic and very fun to watch, even if you lose, because if it gets PKs, it's very dramatic. Um, yeah, man, the U.S., this team has surprised. They struggled throughout qualification, but we have a very young, talented team. They're the second most youngest team in the World Cup, and I've tried to tell people our talent is there this year. In 4 years, it's gonna be off the charts good. But this year we have a very talented team. Our manager hasn't been the best, or our coach hasn't been the best. His tactics have been weird, but our guys got it done in these last three games. They beat Iran and they moved on. And facing a Netherlands team, I really do feel like we have a good shot. This is not the U.S. team from 20 years ago where they're just getting smoked by European countries. We're a good team. We have good players, and at times, we have that potential to be great.
Very cool. Yeah, I wish I was more into soccer than I am. I coach little kid soccer, but when it comes to high school and above, I have no idea. I think the field is way too big. Um, I have a problem with how the game of soccer works once you get into the bigger stages. But it's really cool that the U.S. is in there and that they're making a good push and they're a good contender. So really looking forward to seeing them progress going forward.
Hopefully, it's tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. So we'll
Eastern
see how.
time.
Yep, Eastern time. So hopefully, fingers crossed, people wake up early, get to watch their national team duke it out against a European foe. So hopefully that goes well.
Awesome. All right. So I guess we're going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to the pod. Reminder that we are also on YouTube. So please go ahead and subscribe. You can find us at youtube.com/ at East Coast Rams. And you can always send questions and feedback to feedback at eastcoastrams.com or hit us up on Twitter. Our Twitter account is at East Coast Rams. You can find Ashton where he will talk all about the Rams and US soccer at Rams fan Ashton 1. And you can always hit me up at Zac Mayer. That will do it. Go watch soccer, go watch football, whichever football you really want to go watch, you can go do so. And yeah, let's hope that the Rams can take on the Seahawks and get us a W. It's about time. Horns up, everybody.